Okay, good morning, my students. Nice to meet you again in this meeting with Mameka in continuing our lecture about listening comprehension. In this topic of listening, Mameka will delivers about the topic of speech, still about speech, but here you are going to understand and also comprehend from the speech in delivering about enthusiasm and humor statement. Discussing about enthusiasm and also humor in the speech. Here, the speaker will try to deliver about the statement, especially on enthusiasm statement and also humor statement in related to motivate the audience and also persuade the audience. Okay, now what are you going to do in this listening comprehensions about the topic of enthusiasm and humor on the speech statement? Before we come to this, Bu Eka will try to deliver first why the speaker delivers about enthusiasm statement and also humor statement in his or her speech. If the speaker is enthusiastic about something, the speaker will show how much the speakers like and enjoy, by the way that the speaker behave and talk. So when the speaker here is enthusiastic in delivering his or her speech, of course the speaker will show how much the speaker like and enjoy with his own statement on the speech. Okay, and now we come to the definition of enthusiasm and humor. What is enthusiasm and what is humor? The first, enthusiasm is an essential element in any successful speaker's delivery. I will repeat once more. Enthusiasm is an essential element in any successful speaker's delivery. The ability to feel and express enthusiasm is immensely empowering. When delivering the enthusiasm, of course, the speaker requires preparation. So it means enthusiasm requires preparation. And then, besides requires preparation, in delivering the enthusiasm statement on the speaker's speech, the speaker also requires an investment of energy. That is the point. A great speech needs to be larger than conversation. Of course, this is different with conversation because a great speech needs to be larger. Okay. In here, the speaker needs to put out more energy than what the speakers use to investing in daily interaction or in daily conversation. So, what is enthusiasm reflected in? Enthusiasm is reflected in facial expression. Secondly, voice. The third, gestures. And the fourth, the words the speaker use. Okay, this is about the reflection of the enthusiasm. So you are going to identify about the statement here which involve the speaker's enthusiasm in delivering his or her speech. Okay, how about his or her visual expression, his or her voice, his of her gestures, and his of her words used. Okay, we are going to continue. About humor. What is humor? Of course, all of you here are familiar with the word humor. Yeah, in English, we can define that humor is a tendency of experiences to provoke laughter and provide amusement. Amusement. Laughter. Okay, can you catch the point? And why does the speaker on his or her speech he tries to deliver humor? Why? Is it necessary for the speaker delivering humor in his or her speech? Of course, it is very necessary and it is important because the humor's function here in the speaker's speech are: 1. Put the audience at ease. This is the function of humor. The fourth. Secondly, create connection. To create connection between the speaker and the audience. And then the third, keep the audience engaged. And then the fourth, make key points memorable. 5. Make better impression. And then 6 will be lighten the load. Okay, this is about the functions of the humor. And now, whoever will not deliver any statement again, we are going to practice for listening to one speech here, or whoever will deliver some statement related to the enthusiasm statement and a humor statement on the speaker's speech. So you are going to identify about the statement, and then whoever will give you an audio about the statement of enthusiasm and the statement of humor on someone's speech. After you know about the definition of what is enthusiasm and what is humor on the speech, so your task, your job is trying to identify from the speaker's audio, from the speech audio, which one is enthusiasm statement and which one is humor statement. And now, whoever will deliver 5 examples on each of them. Whoever will deliver the examples of an enthusiasm statement, especially here on the motivational speech. because the motivational speech is mostly delivering about the statement of enthusiasm. For example, number one,
If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed.
if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. This is the first statement of enthusiasm. Secondly, the second example
If by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made.
in motivational speech. If by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made. Number two, you are going to understand what is the definition of the statement. Number three,
Without consistency, you will never finish, so do what you feel passionate about, take chances, and don't be afraid to fail.
Number three, without consistency, you will never finish. So, do what you feel passionate about. Take chances and don't be afraid to fail. This is the third example on the enthusiasm statement of motivational speech. Number four,
You see, if you don't have a vision of where you are going, if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere.
you see, if you don't have a vision of where you are going, if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. Whose statement is it? This is the statement of Arnold Schwarzenegger in delivering his speech. This is the fourth example. The last example for number five.
If you succeed, every mistake becomes legendary.
For number five, this is from Jack Ma's speech. Jack Ma delivered the speech, especially for the motivational speech, with this statement. If you succeed, every mistake becomes legendary. This is the enthusiasm statement from Jack Ma. One sentence as the enthusiasm statement. Okay, now you are going to listen again to the audio of the statements. Eka will deliver the example of this enthusiasm statement on this audio. Okay, after you listen to the example of the enthusiasm statement, now Mamika delivers about humor statement. The example of humor statements, especially a statement to put the audience at ease and with another function. And also there are six functions of the humor statement, not only for put the audience at ease, but also make key points memorable too, and then make a better impression, create a connection between a speaker and the audience, and then keep the audience engaged, and then lighten the load. Now, Eka will deliver here the examples of the statement one by one. 5 examples to number 1.
When I was young, I was really good at dancing, but not like good-looking dancing, but, you know, the dancing.
When I was young, I was really good at dancing, but not like a good dancing, but You know, just dancing. Okay, this is a humor. And then secondly,
My
my
only interest when I was young, in regarding, was to be attractive to the girls.
my only interest when I was young in regarding was to be attractive to the girls. This is the examples of the statement, a humor statement from PSY. It's a South Korean singer. Yeah. Okay, this is his speech in front of the students of Harvard University. Yeah. And then the third example. Now,
Now, I wasn't afraid of the cops, but there was one person I was very afraid of, and that was my mother.
now I wasn't afraid of the cops, but there was one person I was very afraid of, and that was my mother. This is the third humor. Yeah. And now we come to the fourth humor.
He said, "Son, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is."
Someone said, son, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. This one. And then number five.
After successfully completing college, I found a great girl, but not a job.
Five. After successfully completing college, I found a great girl, but not a job. This is the statement of Dhananjaya Hitarashi when he was delivering a speech as a in a speech champion. I'm so sorry, in a speech champion, okay, and he become a winner. Yeah. Okay, this is the example for number 3, 4, and 5 from Dhananjaya Hitarashi. And then for number 1 and 2, this is the statement of PSY, yeah, for a South Korean singer. Okay, this is about the examples from Bueka, 5 statements in enthusiasm and 5 statements in humor. And now you are going to listen for the speech of someone here, and then I need you to write down one sentence of humor and one sentence of enthusiasm speech on the comment of this video. Yeah, remember, you are going to write down one statement in enthusiasm and one statement in humor from someone's speech here that I will deliver on this video.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the halfway point. I was clean shaven when this started. Dear Lonnie, family, friends, Mr. President, members of the clergy, all of these amazing people here in Louisville. Today, this outpouring of love and respect proves that 35 years after he stopped fighting, he is still the champion of the world. Last week, when we heard the news, time stopped. There was no war, there were no terrorists, no global catastrophes. The world stopped, took a deep breath and sighed. Since then my mind has been racing through my relationship with this amazing man, which is now 42 years that I know him. Every moment I can think of as cherished. And while others can tell you of his accomplishments, he wanted me to speak and tell you of some personal moments that we had together. I met him in 1974. I was just getting started as a stand-up comedian and struggling. But I had one good routine. It was a 3-minute conversation between Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali where I would imitate both of them. Ali had just defeated George Foreman and regained the heavyweight title. Sport magazine made him the Man of the Year. Dick Shop, a wonderful writer and a great man, was the editor for Sport, and he hosted a televised dinner, honoring Muhammad Ali. So, Dick called my agent looking for a comedian who did some sports material. As fate would have it, that comedian was not available, and she wisely said, "It's destiny, man," and she wisely said, "But listen, I got this young kid and he does this great imitation of Muhammad Ali and Cosell. He would be perfect for you." I don't know why, but Dick said, "Okay, I'll try him. If he stinks I can cut him out of the show." I couldn't believe it. My first time on television, and it would be with Ali. I went to the Plaza Hotel. The event was jammed. I met Mr. Shop, who would later become a part of my family. And he said, "Well, how should I introduce you? Nobody knows who you are." And I said, "Just say I'm one of Ali's closest and dearest friends." And my thought was, I'll get right to the microphone, go into my Howard Cosell, and all be fine. And then I nervously move into the jammed ballroom, and that's when I saw him for the first time in person. It's very hard to describe how much he meant to me. You had to live in his time. It's great to look at clips and it's amazing to have them, but to live in his time, watching his fights, experiencing the genius of his talent, was absolutely extraordinary. Every one of his fights was an aura of a Super Bowl. He did things nobody would do. He predicted the round he would knock somebody out in, and he would do it. He was funny, he was beautiful, the most perfect athlete you ever saw, and those were his own words.
He was incensed, "I'm a black Muslim and they let me run there. Little brother, I'm never gonna run there again." And he didn't. My favorite memory perhaps was in 1979. He had just retired and there was a retirement party at the Forum, Los Angeles, for Muhammad and 20,000 of his closest friends in Los Angeles. I performed a piece that I had created. The imitation had grown into a live story called 15 Rounds. I play him from the age of 18 until he's 36, ready for the rematch with Leon Spinks. I posted it on the internet last week, footage that nobody had ever seen before of me portraying Ali doing his life for him all those years ago in 1979. There were 20,000 people there, but I was doing it only for him. It's one of my favorite performances that I've ever done in my life. I sort of got lost in him. I didn't even know where I was at the end of the performance. And suddenly I'm backstage with another heavyweight champion, Richard Pryor. And Pryor is holding on to me, crying, and then I see Ali coming and he's got a full head of steam and he's looking only at me, and he nudged Mr. Pryor aside and he whispered in my ear with a big bear hug, "Little brother, you made my life better than it was." But didn't he make all of our lives a little bit better than they were? That, my friends, is my history with a man, and I have labored to come up with a way to describe the legend. He was a tremendous bolt of lightning created by Mother Nature out of thin air, a fantastic combination of power and beauty. We've seen still photographs of lightning bolts, ferocious in its strength, magnificent in its elegance. And at the moment of impact it lights up everything around it so you can see everything clearly. Muhammad Ali struck us in the middle of America's darkest night, in the heart of its most threatening gathering storm. His power toppled the mighty foes and his intense light shined on America, and we were able to see clearly: injustice, inequality, poverty, pride, self-realization, courage, laughter, love, joy and religious freedom for all. Ali forced us to take a look at ourselves. This brash young man who thrilled us, angered us, confused and challenged us, ultimately became a silent messenger of peace, who taught us that life is best when you build bridges between people, not walls. My friends, only once in 1,000 years or so do we get to hear a Mozart, or see a Picasso, read a Shakespeare. Ali was one of them, and yet at his heart, he was still a kid from Louisville who ran with the gods and walked with the crippled and smiled at the foolishness of it all. He is gone, but he will never die. He was my big brother. Thank you.
This video. And then you are going to write down in a comment of this video. Okay, this is our learning for listening comprehensions for today. That is the statement of a speech of enthusiasm and also humor. I hope that you can catch this lesson, you can absorb this lesson easily, and then you need to do some practice by listening for a speech and identifying and comparing between the enthusiasm statement and humor statement. You can take a look again on the definition I delivered at the beginning of this video. Okay, if you have any questions, remember we have a WA group and then you can ask me there. Thank you very much for the attention today. Don't forget to support, and then we will see you again on the next lesson. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.